the cloud. There it is. Oh. So let's start off with sitting. Nice and tall if you can. Crown of your head lifting up towards the sky, and close your eyes. Time to let go, time to just settle into enjoying being in your body. And taking a little bit of a moment to work out what's good, what's working well, where you're feeling a little bit stuck, where we can work on things today. And take a deep breath. And let's do lots of breathing through the nostrils today. So breathing in through your nostrils, breathing out through your nostrils or through your mouth. So we start today with balancing breath. So bring your right hand, fold over the first two fingers. So we're going to use the thumb and the ring finger as a gentle stop. So the ring finger on the left nostril, thumb on the right, and we'll alternate. So let's open the right nostril now. The whole of this breath, Nadi Shodhana, we keep the mouth gently closed. So breathing in through your right nostril now. Let's breathe in together. And switch to breathe out. Breathing in on the same side. Switch to exhale. Breathing in, same side. Switch to exhale. Inhale. Switch, exhale. Inhale. Switch. Inhale. Switch. Inhale. Switch. Big inhale this time. Switch. Deep inhale. Fully exhale, switch. Inhale. Switch, exhale. Inhale. Switch, exhale. Inhale, come back to breathing as you are, inhaling and exhaling to switch. Go at your own pace and start to breathe very gently. One more round. And relax your hands down into your lap. Close your eyes if they're not closed and breathe in and out through your nostrils. Just noticing the change, if any. Feeling the air going in, the quality of that air, how it feels on the inside of your nostrils. And taking that breath all the way down into your belly. And as you breathe out, again noticing how that breath has changed from being inside and coming outside again. Okay, let's start moving. So we're going to do some santosha exercises, some heart opening exercises. So we'll start by reaching forward, rounding out the back. So send your mid back out behind you, as if you're just sort of collapsing in at the middle. Round your hips, so send your sit bones kind of out in front of you instead of poking down into the ground. Reaching forward, allow your head to drop. So your spine is making a nice C shape here, all the way from the bottom right up to the top. And then we're going to come back up, draw your shoulder blades towards each other, take your arms behind you, clasp your hands and push them away. So let's just take the chest out this time. So as if we're trying to make that same C shape, but the other way around, much harder. So send your belly button forward, bring your shoulders back, bring your head back. This time we are tipping the pelvis the other way, so almost sending your sit bones out behind you. And then let's come back to neutral. Take your hands forward. We're just going to do some lovely wrist circles. So make those circles as wide as you possibly can. Notice if you can feel the muscles up in your arms. Keep breathing, lovely deep slow breath. So we go around one way and then let's go around the other way. These are great if you've been doing lots of downward dog, lots of handstands. You'll feel it in your arms if you have, or even just sitting, typing, writing, reading, any kind of repetitive motion. It just gives us a chance to get all those knots out. There we go, nice big circles. And you can feel if there's any areas where you're getting a little bit stuck. And then let's bring the elbows back. And let's put hands on shoulders and we'll circle the elbows around. Take as big a circle as you can. If you can get your elbows to come meet in the middle. And then up. And then towards the ceiling. And then behind you and down. And then let's go the other way. The fingertips are just gently on your shoulders. Big, 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 big circles. And again, I should feel amazing in your arms, and your back and neck. There we go. And then let's do a little bit for elbows. So hands out straight, bring your arms back, out again. Take your fingertips down to the floor, push your wrists forward, and then bring them all the way up. And raise your elbows up to the ceiling, opening up under your arms, arching the back a little bit here, lifting your heart center, and then back. And we're going to take some big wide arm circles here. So reaching forward, arms are straight, all the way up and back and round. Right into the shoulders again. Let's do 3 here. So make them as big as you can. Breathing in as you open up. Breathing out as you start to close again. And let's go the other way. So we're going to be breathing in here. And then out as we close up. So opening up and breathing in. Legs kind of get in the way there, don't they? So we're doing one more, last one. So hopefully feeling really warmed up in those arms and shoulders, wrists. So let's do a little bit of a spin to the side, right hand to left knee, hold on and give yourself a twist. Hands, your left hand on the floor behind you and lifting up. So think about that crown of the head going up towards the ceiling. Twist, open, lift your ribs. Nice long spine here. We don't want to be collapsing around. Looking around behind you. Getting some movement into the neck and head. And release. Come all the way back. And let's go straight to the other side. So reaching around with the right arm. Using it as an anchor behind you. To pull yourself around. And take your right ear all the way behind you. Don't forget to bring your gaze around as well. Lift, open up the heart center here. And back to center. Very nice. Okay, so let's come into Baddha Konasana before we start into our movements and standing and reaching and stretching. And well, we're already stretching, aren't we? So bringing the soles of your feet together, knees out to the sides, and think about noticing your sit bones here. Are they nicely ground down into the mat, giving you a beautiful, strong, solid base and foundation? And how about your spine? Can we lengthen any more in the spine, lifting the head up, crown of the head towards the sky, and those knees moving down towards the ground? And breathe. You might start to notice as you go through your practice that you have so much more range of movement because you've practiced regularly, and you might start to also notice where you want to feel that you have more movement, more depth to your moves, and you can add in other practice during the week. And sometimes it doesn't have to be a whole hour. It can be just 5 minutes here and there, or incorporating it into doing something else, like Baddha Konasana when you brush your teeth, perhaps. So up tall. I've been distracting you with chatter while we stay in this posture. And we're going to fold forward. So your choice if you would like to fold forward with a flat back first, or whether you feel like rounding. I'm going to go flat back first. All we're doing here is just putting a little bit more pressure on, increase that stretch, increase that opening, the relaxation of the pelvis here. And we want to come to a state where we are feeling that there's a stretch, but we're also trying to encourage those muscles to release and let go and soften. And it can feel like a lot to ask, but maybe we have to keep asking. Maybe then we get so forwards, flat back. So flat back means that your chin is lifted and you're sending your chin forward. Your gaze is forward, about say 2 meters ahead of you. And you just keep adding on as you breathe out, folding forward a little further. Use your hands and your arms to help you. Easing into this lovely posture. It's such a deep posture. It's such a good one. And then we're going to come all the way back up. And then whatever you did this time, whether you rounded, now go straight. And if you were straight before, as I was, then you come around it. Dropping your chin to your chest and taking your crown of your head down. So your gaze is very inwards. Maybe gaze at your heels or your toes. Gently moving. Gently asking those muscles to relax and ease. So remembering to breathe in and out through your nostrils if you can. And then on an in-breath, gently drawing yourself all the way back. Well done. Take your legs forward. That should feel really good. Give them a bit of a wiggle. I'm going to go sideways here. Give them a bit of a wiggle. Lifting your knees off and popping them down again, quite fast. And we're going to come into boat here, into Navasana. So I know we normally save Navasana for the end of our practice, but we've just woken up the shoulders, the arms, the wrists, the hips, and then we're going to come back to center. We're going to come to core. So find your balance spot, wherever that is. Lovely straight back. So everything is straight here. So we've got straight legs in that you've got, well, it's supposed to be very hard to bend your calves, wouldn't it? But here we go. We're all right angles, I guess that's what I meant. And nice straight arms too. So if you need to, a little gentle touch to the side will give you a lot of help here. But if you don't need it, just come off, just float to either side. So float your arms either side of your legs. And we want to try and avoid rounding. So don't round, because that just takes everything off. All you're doing then is hanging out here, you're not working. So you want a nice straight back, and then everything switches on. So you want to feel that the muscles that you have in your corseted muscles around your waist, around your sides, are switched on and working here. So keep your legs next to each other. If you wish, you can bring them to gently touch. Well done. And if you want to add on, you can straighten your legs. And if you really want to add on, you can straighten your arms above your head. Too much for me today. I'm not doing that. But you're very welcome to. And come back a little, if you can. And then come back up. Bring your knees all the way in. Wrap your arms around. Keeping your feet off the floor. Give yourself a hug. Ground yourself so that your forehead comes to your knees. And relax. Sort of a half relaxed. We are balanced here. And then we're coming back up. Back into Navasana again. So wherever you just were, come back to that space again. And then decide whether you are at your maximum or whether you would like to push yourself a little bit further, and what that might look like for you for today, and whether you need to ease off a little bit today. Listen to what you really genuinely need and want, and go there. Never worry about what anybody else is doing. You are you. And then coming back for that lovely hug, wrapping your arms around, feeling all those muscles just relaxing in your midriff, and bowing your head down. Well done. Taking your legs back down to the mat, into Dandasana. Staff pose, so make sure that you have that nice contact between your sit bones and the floor. Again, crown of the head lifting up. And we're going to open up the arms to the sides. So reach out as you breathe in. And exhale, fold. Folding forward into Paschimottanasana, west facing pose. So we're allowing back and spine to stretch here. Gently let the weight of your head take your head down towards your knees, towards your chins, wherever it comes to. Stretching out along the whole of your spine. Now this always takes a little time to ease into, so give yourself that time. Focus on your breath, breathing in and out so slowly and deeply, extending out your out breath. And with every breath, maybe finding a millimeter more. Relaxing all the muscles in your belly, in your sides, allowing your arms to just be soft and relaxed on either side of your legs or on your shins, wherever works for you. This is a great asana to close your eyes and feel your way, feel what's going on in your body, feel where you might be encountering a little tightness. Mine's just a lot along my lower back here. And I know that if I stay in this posture for a little while, that gently eases off. Just noticing where you're feeling it. And practicing trying to do that without any judgment, without attaching anything to it. And we're going to start coming back up. So with an inhale, lifting all the way back up. So a little time for some strength work in the arms. So fingertips pointing towards your hips and taking your toes down towards the floor, lifting your hips off, coming into reverse plank. Just if you need to, move your feet further away. Take your shoulders wide, lift your heart center up towards the ceiling. So here we go. A lovely heart opening posture. Head can drop back if you are comfortable dropping your head back. Otherwise, you can keep your head lifted. I'm a bit lazy here, so I prefer to drop my head back and work on squeezing the glutes, squeeze your thighs, squeeze your toes down towards the mat. Lift up from your shoulders. So you're taking some of that strain off your wrists. Squeeze, 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 and come back down. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. We're building this into a nice little sequence. Fold forward. Try and relax. Try and let go. We're asking the muscles to switch on and switch off quite quickly. So we need to get us into the posture, and then we want them to release and relax and let go and ease off. And inhaling to come up. Taking the hands behind, we're coming back into that reverse plank. I know it's a tricky posture. It's very good and very useful. So let's do it. Toes down, hips up, shoulder blades together, head back if that works for you. Don't forget to breathe. Lift your belly button up towards the ceiling. Okay, let's hold here for 5. You can do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then come back down. Well done. Take your knees up, feet in. Wrap your arms around. Give yourself a little bit of a hug. Lean into it. We want to be stretching out that space between your shoulder blades. So lean back. Well done. And here we are. We're coming up to some standing postures. And into squat. So bring yourself into your squat. Turn this way. So squat is really one of those tricky ones that if you don't do it quite regularly, it suddenly becomes quite hard to do. So this is one that I would encourage you to try and find time for every day if you can. I know it seems so easy when you just sort of say that, but actually finding the time or remembering is another thing, isn't it? So again, brushing your teeth or watching TV for a few moments in squat. And let's come up onto toes if you're not already up on toes. And a little bit of balance. So we want hips and heels in contact, up on toes. Well done. Now, if you need to, keep a hand down on the floor and then just open up the other one. If you can, then both arms are up, opening up the chest. Really tricky little bit of balance here. Well done. Well done. And then let's take the hands back down and we're going to come into downward facing dog. So let's come into our posture that we're looking for, down dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And tilt your hips, sit bones up to the ceiling, belly button drawing in. That should feel really lovely in the backs of your calves, in the backs of your heels and your Achilles tendons there, backs of your knees. Long in the sides of your body. See if you can get some length there, taking your hips as far away from your wrists as you can. Shoulders wide. And after being in that very tight squat, it must feel really lovely stretching out the calves. I know that mine are very grateful for this stretch this morning. And up on toes, down, bringing yourself into a tabletop position. So in your tabletop position, lift your shoulders up and away from your wrists. Check to see that your feet are directly behind your knees. And allow things to just settle for a moment. Breathe in and out through your nostrils. Take the tips of your fingers and press them down into the floor, as well as the whole of the flat of your hand. We're going to do a few rounds of cat and cow here. So taking your belly down towards the floor, lifting your head, lifting your hips. And remember, cat, cow, always a happy cat, cow, so a big smile on your face. And using your breath to move, let's move now into our cat. And inhaling as you lift your face up, lift your hips, taking your belly down towards the mat, having a lovely stretch, and then breathing out into cat. Move at your own pace. Make the movement as deep as you can. 3 more. Make them count. Make them amazing. Feel where your body is opening up and stretching and enjoying all the movement. We're sending everything around. We're waking everything up. Making space. Clearing out. And back when you're finished into Balasana. Taking the knees wide. Sliding your hands forward. And bringing your chest down, forehead down, a little bit of opening up under the arms, a little bit of opening up in the chest. So bringing your chest as close to the floor as you can. If you can squish your chest down into the floor and still keep your hips to your heels, that's what we're looking for. Reaching your arms forward, breathing steadily and easily here. And then as we draw up, bringing the knees together, coming back into tabletop position, tucking the feet down, back into downward facing dog. And reaching forward now, coming into plank. So bring yourself into plank. So we've been on our reverse plank and now we're in our forward plank. Lift your shoulders away from your wrists. Engage your core, engage your glutes and your thighs, send your heels back. head and neck in line with the rest of your body. Nice straight line. Well done. We come down to the mat, so we come knees, chest and chin. Keep your bum up in the air, and then we scoop forward, coming into Bhujangasan. So a little bit more chest opening here, a little bit more heart opening. Keep your elbows back and down, and lift your chin, lift your face. Hands not really doing very much here. Just pressing into the floor very lightly. We're squeezing up by using the muscles in the back. So I want you to try and feel what's happening in those muscles. Can you feel your glutes engaged? If they're not, please engage. Press the tops of your feet down into the mat. Squeeze the muscles in your legs. And then into your lower back, pushing your belly into the mat, lifting your chest off. And if you're comfortable to do a little bit more of a stretch here, pressing now down into your hands and lifting up. So to protect your lower back here, squeeze your glutes. Send your chest forward. So we're lengthening through the front of the body. Take your shoulder blades down your back. Send your heart center forward. So a really strong stretch in the front of your body. Squeeze those glutes. Squeezing the tops of your feet down into the mat, still here. And then we're coming up, back into downward facing dog. So come all the way down to the mat. Sending your bottom back towards your heels. Tuck your heels under, lift your sit bones up towards the sky. And we're stepping the right foot forward. Look towards your hands, step your right foot forward between them and come into a high lunge. High lunge, so back leg is straight, front leg is bent. That gorgeous sun behind me. And let's swoop the arms up. So we're in our warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. We're going to go 1, 2, and 3 today. So sink your hips down. Hips are in line with the narrow end of your mat. So pointing forward, not out to the sides. We'll come into that in a moment. So lifting up and sinking down at the same time. Send your heart center forward. Breathe. And we're going to swoop the arms, come all the way around to the other side. There we go. Hello, sun. So all we've done is just pivot round. Sink down, strong thigh. And long thigh. And then we do the same again, swooping the arms down, straighten your legs. They come all the way around and back. I'm really messing my mat substitute up here. I hope you have a little bit more of a stable base. And never mind. So sinking down a little lower, sending your heart center up towards the ceiling almost. And one last time, swoop the arms down. And if you have some sun and some light outside or inside, I hope it is bright and cheery. And then come back to center. So all the way to the center, and we're not going over to the other side. Hands to hips, time for a little bit of Prasarita Padottasana. So send your hips out behind you, fold forward. Just halfway. Hold at that halfway point, check on your knees. Have you got them locked? Can you have a little bit of a bend in them so that you are not locking the legs? And then folding all the way. Keep going, just let the weight of your head take you to wherever works for you. So hands are still to hips, head is hanging, and we're just going to enjoy this inversion for a moment. You can take your hands down to your ankles. So right hand, right ankle, left hand, left ankle. And really relax shoulders, neck, face. Allow everything to ease. Nice, slow, deep breaths here. So let's take 3 deep, slow breaths together. Inhaling through the nostrils. Exhaling through the mouth. There's 1. And 2. And 3. Relax the muscles in the back of your neck and your head a little more. And we're coming all the way up. So take that bend in your knee. Keep it there. Nice strong legs. All the way back up to standing. So here we are in our perfect pose almost to set up for warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So this time we want the hips to be level with the long end of the mat, so they're not going anywhere. Keep your hands there, but we're going to just inch that right leg into the right position. Squiggle around with your toes, and we're going to bend that knee. Take the arms wide, right chin to right shoulder. Sink a little if you can. And then we're going to do a little bit of a variation here. Bringing the right hand up, bringing the left hand to find that extended back left leg, and then reaching up towards the sky and following those fingertips with your gaze. So gaze is just at your middle finger, just the very tip of it. Not a lot of weight going into the hand, the left hand on the left leg. And then coming back, taking that left hand behind. And then we're going to bring the left hand around. Keep your chest where it was. So left hand and right hand are both pointing off towards the right. And then I want you to hold a bowstring. So we fold in all of the fingers and pull back. Pull back as if you're holding a bow. And release. Take your hands to legs and let's switch. So bringing your toes around as you need. And this time we're bending into the left leg, straight on the right, hips lined up. So just have a little check. Yes, they're lined up. And then we can take the arms out nice and strong. Try to keep your shoulders low, not lifting up. And then we'll do the same thing, coming all the way up. Reaching up. Looking up. Squeezing into the right side of your body, opening up in the left. And you sink a little lower. And then coming back to center again. And we're going to reach that right arm round, all the way around. So they're pointing in the same direction without moving anything else. So hands pointing in the same direction, and then hold that bow string and pull. Pull as strong as you can. Engage all the muscles in your right arm. And release. Come back to center, straighten both your legs. Prasarita Padottasana again, all the way folding this time. Go all the way down, right from the get-go. Hands down to your feet. Hold here for a moment. Now let's take the right hand over to the left foot. Little time for twisting here. So right hand to left foot. Left hand is free now to wake its way up towards the sky. Open up towards the sky, reaching up with that left hand. With your right hand drawing yourself round and down. Bringing yourself into that twist. And again, not locking the knees. And release. Straight over to the other side. So left hand to right foot, right hand opens up to the sky. And never worry if you are doing the left instead of the right or the right instead of the left. Just do the opposite the next time. And then back to center. Both hands to the floor in front of you. And then gently working the feet towards each other, coming into an easy forward bend. So your feet are together, legs are straight, hips are lifted, hands are just down towards the floor, towards your feet, around your ankles, wherever works for you. And your head and neck are completely at rest here. Another lovely little inversion with a bit of a stretch in the back of the legs. This is very calming, very good for easing anxiety. And especially if you add on some nice, slow, deep breath work here. Then we're going to uncurl to come up. So slowly, slowly, come out really slowly. Enjoy this, take your time. No rush. Slowly, slowly, all the way back up to standing. Well done. So, a little bit more heart opening here. So feet together. Let's send the arms forward. And open them wide as if you're saying, welcome to everybody. Bring your shoulder blades together and stretch your arms back as if you're trying to get the backs of your hands to meet behind you. At the same time, lift your heart center, lengthen through the belly. A little bit of a lift in the chin as well, keeping that neck lovely and long. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. I want you to feel as if you're almost trying to hold a tennis ball between your shoulder blades. And release. Bring your arms back, rounding a little. Take your right hand to your left shoulder, left hand to your right shoulder. Oh, good. Well done. Manage that one. And inch your fingers as close together as you can behind you. And give yourself a hug. Drop your head. Relax your head and neck and chin. So we're just a little bit of a hug here. And release. And then back again, but this time switch the arms. So you've got the other arm on top. Give yourself a lovely hug. And release. So we are standing, so let's take advantage of the standingness and give ourselves a tree. So bearing down nice and strong into that left leg, right leg. Now, you know you've got three choices. Choose whichever one works for you today. Today, I am going for a foot fold rather than standing my sole of my foot against my thigh. So here we are in our tree. Find your balance. Opening up. We've got this glorious sunshine, but it's a little fresh. Okay, so stay here, or if you want to challenge yourself a little, we're going to fold forward. If you're up in standing tree, remember you can challenge yourself by trying to close your eyes gently. And you can try the different postures and positions for your arms. If you're folding forward, think about sending your sit bones up towards the ceiling. And then we're slowly coming back up to standing. So a lot of strength in that one standing leg, drawing yourself all the way up. And let's change sides. So release that leg. Take your strength into your right leg, taking the sole of your right foot to press firmly into the floor. Give yourself that nice foundation. And whichever version of tree you feel is right for you today, that's the one that you need to use. And either playing with your arm position or folding forward. Remembering that that standing leg does not go into a lock. And then hold off. Wee. Wobbly on that side today. And release. So I did say that we were going to come into 3 warriors today, and we have only done warrior 1 and warrior 2. So it's time to try a little warrior 3, but we've done a little bit of balance work with our 1 leg tree. So here we go, warrior 3. So we're going to stand into the left leg. Going to keep that right leg released. Going to inhale the arms up. And we are going to pivot. So back leg stays straight. Pivot through the hips. Hold those hips nice and level. Sending your arms forward. Raising that right leg out behind you. Reaching forward. Don't forget to breathe. Nice strong leg. Well done. Lift, reach, and gently coming out, keeping your arms lifted. Exhaling them down. Well done. So standing now, strong into your right leg. Take a breath. This is our last standing asana. We're going to be coming down to the floor now as soon as we finish this warrior 3. So release your left foot now. Inhale your arms up. Lift your heart center and folding forward. Pivoting on your hips so that you're sending your left leg back behind you. Reaching forward. Reach, lift, be strong. And here we go, coming out. We're not holding for very long. Let's inhale up, exhale, fold all the way into a nice, easy forward bend. So let's enjoy this inversion. Close your eyes. Relax your kneecaps. Send your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Keeping your shoulders soft. Relax all the muscles in your face. Well done. Walking your hands forward, give yourself a little space. Bring your knees down to the mat, heels together, knees together. Send yourself back into Balasana and send your arms forward, forehead to the mat. Send your fingertips and your hands as far forward as you can. Let's really open up under the arms here, having a bit of a stretch. Easing your chest onto your thighs, your belly to your thighs, and relaxing into your Balasana. Well done. Did some strong postures today. We'll allow time for some more floor work. So draw yourself back up. Release your legs out and around. And let's come down to lying on our mats on the floor. Extend your legs out. Just relax your arms down either side of you for a moment. Allow your body to settle. Allow yourself to come into a place of rest. And we're going to do a little bit of a counter pose. So take your feet flat to the floor by your hips, hands pointing down towards your heels, towards your fingertips, towards your toes even, and lift your hips up, come into a bridge. So bridge, you can be giving your attention to different parts. You can be lifting your hips, or you can be pushing down into the soles of your feet. You kind of want to be doing both of those at once. You also need to be rolling your shoulders in and under if that works for you, so you can lift your heart center a little more. Think about making space. Think about a counter pose for your spine. Think about squeezing your glutes and trying to bring your knees towards each other as much as you possibly can. Think about pressing the earth away from you with your arms, with your hands. So squeeze into your arms. So it could be just that you kind of come here and you hang out. It could be that everything is working. I want everything working as much as possible. Press into the soles of your feet. Lift your hips up. Breathe. Have you got some more space? Can you lift a little higher? And release. Slowly down towards the ground. Hopefully you haven't kind of slumped down there already. Nice, slow, one vertebra at a time. And then bring your knees in. Give them a hug, give them a squeeze. A little bit of a rock from side to side to ease out any tension in the lower back. Gently rocking side to side. And now we've got these knees squeezed in. So let's hold on to the right leg and release the left. Take the sole of your foot up towards the ceiling. Hook your toes down towards your face. A nice stretch in the back of your leg. Now in this wind releasing posture, we want to be able to really have a fantastic amount of contact between the right thigh and your torso. So pulling in as much as you possibly can. And when you're ready, starting to take that left foot down towards the floor. Slowly. All the way down towards the ground. And then back up again. Slow, steady progress when you bring your foot all the way up to the sky again. Let's swap. So toes poking down towards your face, heel moving down towards the ground. Nice and slow. Think about your purpose for being here today. What do you want to get out of your practice? What does your practice mean to you? What can you take into your life from your yoga practice? And start moving that leg back up towards the ceiling. Really pulling tightly in with your arms and your left leg. Write your intention for your day. What do you want more of in your day today? And we talk about what we want more of, not what we want less of, because we crowd out the things that we want less of with the things that we want more of. Let's give our focus to the positive things, not the negative. And then bringing both knees in, both thighs to your torso. Another lovely squeeze into your chest. Open your arms out to the sides. And let's come into a twist. Now, if you want to add on here, if you want to do something a little different, you can cross your legs and then come into a twist. Give yourself a little bit more. Opening your head out to the side, the opposite side. That lovely twist. And try to soften and release. What are you holding on to? Let go. And then coming back to center, first with your head, then with your legs. If you've crossed, change that cross. Coming over into your twist on the other side. If it's too strong for you, you'll find that the shoulder on the opposite side comes away from the ground. And that's your signal and your sign to ease off. And then back to center. Bringing your knees in for a last hug. Well done. Here we are at the end of the practice. Beautiful practice around the world. How very lucky we are. How very lucky I am. And bringing yourself into Shavasana. So set yourself up. Find your comfort. Close your eyes. Make sure that you have enough space. Get yourself into a position that you feel is comfortable for you. Give yourself space. Lengthen through your spine. Breathe in and make space in your body with that breath. Expand your chest, expand your belly. And when you're ready, release and let go and sink a little deeper into your mat, into the floor, into the ground that holds you with every in-breath. Taking in light and warmth and possibilities and peace and calm and beauty and joy and santosha. Feeling a deep sense of contentment and acceptance for what is. and working with what is rather than fighting against what is. As you breathe out, making more space, letting go, feeling free, feeling relaxed, feeling strong, feeling full of potential and possibilities and joy. Breathing in and breathing out at your own easy, relaxed pace. Feeling a sense of ease. Relax your feet. Relax your ankles. Relax your calves. Relax your shins. Relax your knees. Relax your thighs. Relax your hips. Relax your belly. Relax your chest. Relax your hands. Relax your wrists. Relax your forearms. Relax your elbows. Relax your upper arms. Relax your shoulders. Relax your chin and neck and throat. Relax your nose and cheeks and eyes. Relax your forehead and ears and scalp. Relax the whole of your body. Release and let go. Notice any muscles that are holding on. Allow them to soften. Allow them to ease. Breathing in as deeply as you can. And breathing out to release and let go. Sink a little deeper. Knowing that this sense of peace and calm is yours to return to any time during your day, during your week. Taking a nice deep, slow breath in. When you're ready, slowly coming to rest on your right side. Allowing yourself to rest, to feel completely relaxed, to feel your heart beating, to feel your breath coming and going. To know that your body is a miracle and it does a million miraculous things every moment. Your body is looking after you, and you are looking after your body and your mind and your spirit. Slowly coming up to sitting, keeping your eyes gently closed. Taking nice, slow, easy, deep breaths. Bringing your hands to heart center. And let's rub the hands together. Let's get a little bit of energy going. Nice. Sparks should fly out the tips of your fingers here and then cut them over your eyes. Open your eyes into that nice space as you take a deep breath in. Well done, you. Well done, everything that you have done to bring yourself to this point and for everything to come. Breathing in, breathing out, floating your hands back down to heart center. And thank you very much for joining me on my Sardinian mat, in my Sardinian sunshine for your practice. And thank you for joining yourself for your practice. It's lovely to see you. Exciting to be here. We did it. Yay! And have a gorgeous day. Lots of love.